Hello, welcome to Crossfire, the show that dives into the heart of global conflicts, where nations collide, alliances shift, and lives hang in the balance. On tonight's show, we tell you how Ukraine is making one last plea to its Western allies before going to the negotiating table with Vladimir Putin to end the conflict in Ukraine. Also on the show, we decode how China is taking lessons from the Russia-Ukraine war as speculation grows over a possible invasion of Taiwan. Stay with us as we unravel these high-stakes developments and reveal what they mean for the future of global power and security. Ukraine's battle for survival has reached a defining crossroads, where diplomacy, determination, and sheer resilience are being tested like never before. As winter looms and Russian threats escalate, President Volodymyr Zelensky is making an urgent plea for survival. A plea for NATO guarantees, advanced weaponry, and unwavering international support. But as Russian forces tighten their grip and the fear of a freezing, powerless winter looms for millions, one question hangs heavy. Can Ukraine rally the support it desperately needs to stand firm? Or will the harsh realities of war force devastating compromises? Our next report decodes this for you.
Ukraine's battle for survival has entered a critical phase. President Vladimir Zelensky has made an urgent plea for security guarantees from NATO and more advanced weaponry. This comes as his country braces for a tough winter and escalating threats from Russia. With the European Union's new leadership showing strong support on their very first day in office, the stage is set for high-stakes diplomacy. But Ukraine also faces daunting challenges, both on and off the battlefield. In Kyiv, Zelensky hosted Kaja Kallas, the European Union's new head of diplomacy, and Antonio Costa, the freshly appointed president of the European Council. Their visit was symbolic, a powerful gesture of solidarity from the EU to Ukraine at a time when the stakes couldn't be higher. Speaking at a joint press conference, Zelensky didn't shy away from making his demands clear. He stated, "An invitation for Ukraine to join NATO is a necessary thing for our survival." But this wasn't just about symbolism or rhetoric. The Ukrainian president outlined a detailed argument. Without NATO guarantees and sufficient military strength, his country cannot enter peace talks with Russia on solid ground. Now, this call comes amidst a dramatic shift in Zelensky's approach. On Friday, he acknowledged that Ukraine might have to consider temporarily giving up some of its occupied territory to end the war. However, he added that these lands could be reclaimed later through diplomacy. Zelensky's reasoning is stark. Without a strong position, any so-called peace could leave Ukraine vulnerable for future aggression. The reality looms even larger as Russia continues to ramp up its military pressure. Over the weekend, a Russian drone attack killed 3 people in the southern Kherson region. Meanwhile, Moscow claims to have captured 2 new villages in eastern Ukraine, tightening its grip on the front line. As winter approaches, Ukraine's challenges continue to grow. Russian forces are targeting critical infrastructure, leaving millions of Ukrainians at risk of losing access to power and heat. On the ground, Kyiv's forces are fatigued, and maintaining morale and momentum is increasingly difficult. So, what's next for Ukraine? Will Zelensky's call for NATO guarantee and advanced weaponry secure the support he needs? Or will geopolitical realities force painful compromises?
The drums of tension are beating louder across the Taiwan state. But this time, the battle isn't just about military might. It's about economic resilience. In a move that is raising eyebrows worldwide, China is reportedly studying Russia's experience with Western sanctions. Beijing is preparing the possibility of its own economic war with the Western world. With tensions over Taiwan escalating and Beijing sending officials to Moscow to learn from the Ukraine crisis, the message is clear. China is bracing for impact. For more on this, listen in to our next report.
As tensions over Taiwan continue to simmer, China is watching, learning, and preparing. In a strategic move that reveals its growing concerns, Beijing has sent officials to Russia to study how sanctions have shaped its economy after the invasion of Ukraine. Their mission? To understand how sanctions affect a country's economy and how they could manage or mitigate similar measures if conflict over Taiwan were to escalate. Meanwhile, Taiwan's president, speaking from US soil, has issued a rallying call to fight together to prevent war. This task force was set up just months after the Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022, and its scope is vast. Chinese officials have been visiting Russia's central bank, finance ministry, and other key institutions to gather insights. From the collapse of the ruble to Russia's efforts to reassure its citizens amid economic instability, Beijing is dissecting every detail. But the focus isn't just on challenges. Sources say China is also interested in potential upsides, like how sanctions have spurred domestic production in Russia. It's a comprehensive effort to prepare for a future where Beijing might face similar economic retaliation over Taiwan. For Beijing, the stakes are as much about economics as they are about alliances. Russia's close relationship with China has grown deeper during the Ukraine war, with Chinese companies reportedly playing a pivotal role in supplying weapons used by Russian forces. Beijing's interest in Russia's experience highlights an awareness of what the West might do. Beijing isn't taking any chances. Experts note that while China has learned from Russia's ability to weather some sanctions, it's also keenly aware of the West's capacity to unite when faced with a crisis. So, what's the takeaway? China is preparing for all scenarios, while tensions with Taiwan and the West continue to rise. With sanctions becoming a key weapon in modern conflicts, Beijing's deep dive into Russia's economic playbook could shape its strategies for years to come. The question now is, will preparations deter conflict or bring the world closer to a dangerous tipping point?
A game-changing moment is right for India's air defenses. The Indian Air Force is exploring a cutting-edge upgrade to its fighter fleet, and all eyes are on Boeing's F-15EX, a jet that promises unparalleled firepower and versatility. But is this advanced multi-role fighter the key to dominating the skies? Or is it just one contender in the high-stakes battle for air superiority? Our next report tells you more.
The Indian Air Force is poised for a significant upgrade, and it's making waves in the global defense community. A game changer could be on the horizon. The IAF is evaluating new multi-role fighter jets, with Boeing's F-15EX emerging as a top contender. But what makes this aircraft so special? The jet costs around $80 million, with per-hour flying cost going as high as $27,000. Moreover, this aircraft is a member of the F-15 Advanced Eagle family, which comes equipped with Amber Missiles Rack's state-of-the-art system. This jet can carry up to 22 missiles at once. Yes, you heard that right. With 20 long-range AIM-120OD missiles and 2 AIM-9X short-range missiles. The F-15EX is designed to take on multiple threats simultaneously, making it a true force multiplier. But it doesn't stop at missiles. These advanced racks also allow the aircraft to carry a mix of small bombs and direct attack weapons. This enables flexibility across mission profiles, from air-to-air combat to precision strikes. However, you should note that the F-15EX isn't just about firepower. It's the latest evolution of the F-15 family, incorporating lessons from previous iterations like the F-15SA and the F-15QA. Boeing has redefined the design, ensuring that the F-15EX represents the pinnacle of modern aerial combat technology. This comes as the Indian Air Force plans to induct 114 multi-role fighter aircraft to strengthen its fleet. The F-15EX is among 8 contenders responding to the IAF's requirements, but its game-changing capabilities makes it a standout. With its unmatched payload and versatility, Could the F-15EX be the key to securing India's air superiority for decades to come? As the Indian Air Force weighs its option, one thing is clear: the competition for the skies just got a whole lot more exciting.
That's all we have for you in this edition of Crossfire. See you again tomorrow on India Today Global.